Even things like bad habits, like I've heard people that really struggled with things like not drinking diet sodas or regular sodas, or and for you people that are in other states, northern states, what do they call it?
Soda pop,
or whatever. So, and are, even smoking cigarettes or vaping, or there's so many different habits. Even sugar is
TikTok, social media.
Oh yeah, and
Facebook.
Yeah, and we're actually gonna get to those. I don't remember what subject that was under, but I know we had talked about that with social media.
Oh yeah, we
And
did.
that was a big part. Tell us about that, because I think that for you had shared with me when we were actually talking about making this series. You had shared with me about how social media was one of those things that actually was dragging you down.
Hindering me.
Yeah, can you share just a little bit about that?
I feel like every single person that's on social media, or TikTok, the YouTube, the Facebook, all have. If you probably don't feel the problem that you have with it, but you get addicted. It's definitely, social media is a toxic atmosphere. Definitely, you don't really realize it until you've been out of it for, I don't know, give yourself a week and you'll see the change in yourself.
Yeah.
You'll see the change that you see around you.
Wow. And that's what you did. You decided that was actually part of this coming out of that disappointment.
Yeah.
And that fear of disappointment for you, because you were dealing with, because there is, on social media, there is a lot of people that are, it all seems to gear towards negative attitudes and negative responses. Definitely. And people attacking one another and all these things. So you had shared with me that going through, you realized that it was all the negativity that was actually keeping you stuck as a whole. It wasn't just because it was keeping your
negativity was overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just overwhelms the positivity. It's just a big heavy mud pit, like we talked in the last episode.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And you even encouraged me there, because when you told me that you said, I'm deleting these things off my phone because you knew you were spending too much time on social media and it was just easy to do, at the end of the day or whatever. Yeah. And as you did that, I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to try and see if what he's saying is true. And I did the same thing. And I have to tell you, again, you were an incredible, influence on that, because I found that I started feeling more positive too.
Did you?
Yeah. And so that it did. And I was like, okay, there's something to this. Now for our jobs, we have to be on social media and do things, but there's a difference in being on social media and being continually involved in social media, right? So we're not talking about just not being on, having them, but we're talking about like where you're actually, if you have a minute, that's what you're doing. You're scrolling, right?
And a minute turns into 30 minutes and then an hour.
Yeah.
And then it's bedtime.
Yeah. And
and then in bedtime, you're on your phone on your bed.
Yeah.
You go to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just takes over your life, and I'm glad I don't do that anymore. It really does change you.
So was that hard to do? Was it hard to detox from that? Because it seems like it's kind of an addiction.
It definitely was hard the first couple of days, because you don't really realize how much you've been on it.
You don't know what to do with your time.
Yeah. You're like, I have all this free time now. It's because social media, TikTok, Facebook, it does take up a lot of your time. You don't even realize.
Yeah, it does.
You could sit on the couch for hours and just absorb the toxicity and the negative feeling of being on social media.
Yeah, that's true. It's very true. There's a lot of negative stuff. There's good stuff too, though, but it really does a good outweigh the bad sometimes.
Like you're going through the comments and you see a negative person, and you're like, dang, why is that guy so negative? And it holds on to you. It
sticks to you.
Sticks to you. You don't even notice it.
That's good. That's true.
And, it's really good to just step away from that.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's really good.
It's okay to get on there every once in a while, watch cute cat videos, but
do people really do that anymore?
Yeah.
Okay, they still do.
I hope it is.
Are we gonna add some cute cat videos to the
Sure.
Comments?
Well, let us know if y'all want cute cat videos at the end of every video. I will do that.
Oh, and I guarantee you Landon can find them. If anybody can, he can find them. All right, so stay tuned for more cat videos. No,
Absolutely.
we're not. Well, I appreciate you sharing. There is one more thing, though, I want to touch on based on this subject and on disappointment and fear of disappointment. And that is the fear that being disappointed and the fear of being disappointed with God. And I almost cringe whenever I say that, because when you say that around Christians, they go, wait, what? And but it's true. I mean, how many times I know in my life when negative things have happened that I have struggled with, I've been praying about a subject, I've been trusting God in something, and then what happens when it doesn't happen? Or what happens if it doesn't happen the way that I thought that it would? And then what is the one thing that we do as a culture? We tend to blame God.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
And I'm not saying, and that's for actually another complete topic on the goodness of God. But I have to say that there have been times in my life that I have been stuck and didn't even realize it, because I had gotten into disappointment about something, and that disappointment actually kept me from being able to have the relationship with God in the way that I wanted to have, or that He wanted me to have. And what happened is I had to stop and deal with it. And I had to actually, and I know this may sound even sacrilegious to some people, but I had to say, God, I forgive you for not, answering this prayer the way I thought you should. Now, was God wrong? No, I don't believe God's ever wrong. But I believe that sometimes if we believe it's true, then it becomes true to us. Right? Yeah. And so if I believe it's true, it puts a block between me and my relationship. Like if you did something to disappoint me and I don't forgive you, that puts a block in our relationship. And it's the same way with God. Wow. So we really need to, so one of the things that I'll do regularly is I'll say, God, is there something that I'm disappointed about? And I'll notice there are signs. There are telltale signs. Like if I start getting grumpy, and it's not because I'm hungry, or if I start getting less tolerant of others, or even, or I find myself not wanting to spend time with God. Maybe I don't want to read the Word, or I don't want to do these things. I go, am I disappointed about something, God? Is there something I haven't dealt with? And that goes along with the fear of disappointment, because you can also be afraid to even pray for things or ask for things. You're like, well, what if He doesn't even answer?
Also afraid to ask for forgiveness from God,
Yeah.
Or just, I forgive you, God. I don't know. That's kind of scary.
It is scary. Why does that?
He is our maker, so it's like.
Yeah. But He's also good. And for another episode, we'll talk about this. But one time I asked God, I said, why am I not hungry for the things of you anymore like I was? This was a while back. And He said, well, what happens when you stop feeding on the Word and you stop feeding on that time with Him is you lose your sense of hunger, right? You lose your ability to be hungry. That's what happens when, a person's starving. They start losing the ability to realize they're hungry. And I said, Lord, what is the solution for this?
That's good.
And He said in my heart, He said, taste and see that the Lord is good. Because what happens is when we start to, if we're starving, and we take a little bit of food, like if we've ever been sick, and we haven't eaten for a while, if we just taste a little bit of soup or a little bit of nourishment, then our body starts putting those responses of hunger back again. And so it starts to awaken us. And so anyway, that is for another episode, but I just wanted to touch on that because we can't talk about disappointment and not talk about the times that we actually have been disappointed with God. I have several friends that have lost loved ones, and they were believing God for them to be healed. Now, I don't know the reasons why they were or weren't healed, but that is a big one. And, and maybe when they get sick or they know somebody that's sick, they have trouble praying for those people because they are dealing with the disappointment of the loved one they lost that wasn't healed. And so these things can hinder our relationship with God. They can hinder our relationship with others. And so, and as you talked about, Landon, they can keep us from even being, going forward with our things in our lives to better our lives, like, being healthy. So
Yeah.
So that's a big thing. That's a big subject.
It is a big subject. Yep.
Yeah.
These are all great points. I don't want to say I love these, but I do. I don't know. These episodes have been really great so far, and glad we started this.
Yes, and we're going to do more of this. So, guys, this is just kind of one of the things that, we're birthed in the idea of, hey, we need to just sit down and have real conversations, unscripted, and just be able to share about some things that are common to everyone. And that's why we're touching on these subjects, and it's like...
Are not so common.
Yeah, that's true. We will get some of those. So, and also, if you have ideas... things you'd like to see us talk about, we're going to have guest speakers in the future and things. We'd love to hear from you. Just write it in the comments. Let us know if there's subjects that you guys want to hear about. If there's things that you say, hey, nobody ever talks about this thing.
And we aren't professional.
No, we're not.
So
we're not professionals.
We're just regular dudes.
Yeah, I mean, we are chaplains, but we are, we were just here to talk about the ways that things we've been through and things that have helped us along the way in our relationship with God. So we know without Him, we would not be where we are right now. We wouldn't be able to sit here and talk to you about these things because He's the deliverer, He's the healer, and He's the one that ultimately heals us from disappointment and encourages you to do things that you know you need to do.
I could never do.
Yeah, and gives you the courage. Yeah, I think it's courage, isn't it? Don't you think it just is? It takes courage to be
give me courage. That's why I always pray over myself.
That's good.
It always works. I don't know. Just talk to God. Even if you hear nothing from Him. But
He's working anyway.
He's working anyways. Yeah.
That's right.
He's there for you.
I don't know how many times.
The best listener.
Yeah, He is. I don't know how many times you're right that I've prayed about something and I didn't necessarily hear anything, but I saw the results of how He somehow, some way, answered me in ways that I didn't see in the moment. But when I looked back later,
I'll never see.
Yeah. Yeah. This side of heaven, we might not know.
How did I get here?
Right? How did I get here? I don't even know.
I ask myself that all the time.
That's good. Well, Landon, I think this concludes our episode on disappointment and fear of disappointment. I hope you're not disappointed because we're ending the episode. You're okay with it?
I'm fine with that.
All right. So we thank you guys so much for joining us for this episode of disappointment and fear of disappointment. I just want to encourage you guys to go back and watch the last few episodes that we've done in this series called Everyday Struggles of Life. And we're going to be doing more of these. I believe we have one more episode after this one in this series. And but we'd love to hear from you. So give us a comment and go ahead and subscribe. Take a minute to subscribe and so that you can see more, so you'll know when more of this comes out. So
you'll be notified when these come out. Also hit that bell button,
Yes.
You don't want to miss an episode.
No, you do not want to miss an episode, but we would love to hear from you guys. And so just stay tuned, keep watching. It's only going to get better. Also, we want to let you guys know that we always want to be able to end these episodes with some phone numbers that we've listed. If you need any help, if you're dealing with something and you need someone to talk to, or if you're struggling, please don't struggle alone. There's no reason for you to go through it by yourself. These are some vetted places that are good, have good information, and they will have some things available for you if you just reach out to them. All right, so until next week, Landon, we will see you then.
See you guys.